Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and man, I really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to check today's video out and spend some time with me. And guys, I have a video today that I've been wanting to do a long time. I've been thinking about this topic for a long time, and the fact that one of the reasons that we're seeing a decline in bass fishing, especially competitive fishing, is we don't have heroes anymore. The days of having heroes in the sport are gone, and they're dwindling by fast. And I think this is a lot more serious problem than what people realize. And I'm going to really go over and give you guys my opinion on why that is and what we can do about it. So we're going to get into that in today's video. And of course, I'd be curious to get your guys' feedback out on as well. Before we get started, guys, just a quick reminder. Just want to invite everybody to please swing by and check out my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns that I'm building for Fish the Moment. If you guys are looking to get ready for spring, this is a great resource to learn more about your favorite lakes and get some good places on them. So I'll put my Fish the Moment lake map breakdown link in the description. And also one other thing, guys, anyone interested in becoming a channel member here of Intuitive Angling, which you get like extra videos, private videos that are not seen by the public every week, and some access to my personal email address for your questions, just go to my homepage and hit the join button for information. So much appreciated there. Okay, guys, this is a bad deal, man. This is something that has really rapidly accelerated over the past 5 years, is we don't have heroes anymore. All the heroes are fading out, and they're retiring, and they're leaving the sport, and nobody's there to take their place, and there's a reason why. Now, we're going to get, this is going to be a pretty lengthy video in the terms of that, because there's a lot to this, because in the past, we've always had heroes in the sport. You had heroes like Roland Martin and Rick Clunn and David Fritz and Denny Brower and Larry Nixon. And the reason that they became heroes in the sport and they became household names is the fact that they were specialists and they had personalities unique to themselves. Like Roland Martin was the father of pattern fishing, and then Denny Brower, he developed and gained fame as one of the top flippers in the country. And Rick Clunn, he gained fame from his, instinctual ability and his primal skills, of finding mysterious wads of fish. And David Fritz, he became a hero because of the pioneer of the deep cranking technique. And Larry Nixon, worm fishing, and on and on and on. But all the heroes that we've had in the sport have stood out because they have been artists in their own field of specialty in the terms of traditional bass fishing. It's like every one of these guys had turned one particular genre of bass fishing, technique-wise, into their art form, and they mastered it, and they became heroes, and people began following them as a result of that. We don't have that anymore, guys. We do not have that. The days of heroes in the sport are gone. And I'm going to once again tie it in the reason that it is to forward-facing sonar. And you need to hear me out on this. Now, first of all, what I'm getting ready to say about how we don't have heroes now because there's a bunch of young, unknown fishermen out there. This is not the fault of the young guys. When I say this, I'm not trying to demean or, discount, somebody because they're young. This is a direct fault of Bassmaster and MLF not banning forward-facing sonar, and they have created this problem. Because here's what you have. It's like in the past, all these specialists that we loved to watch for years, like we loved to watch John Cox skip a wacky rig underneath a tree, and like I said, Denny flipping, bushes, and Tommy Biffle or whatever, Rick Clunn throwing a square bill, just on and on and on. We don't have that anymore because now all we have is a bunch of unknown, 20, 25-year-old flat brimmers staring down at a screen, and there's nothing that makes a hero out of that. It's like, he won a tournament forward-facing sonar. He won at live scoping. He won at live scoping. He won at live scoping with a forward-facing minnow. He won at live scoping with a drop shot. It's the same boring, ridiculous story every time, and you cannot develop heroes by one-dimensional techniques of using a cheater box, staring at the back of somebody's head on a split screen on Bassmaster Live. That is why we don't have heroes anymore in the sport, and that's why we're not going to have heroes as long as Bassmaster and MLF continue to allow cheating in tournaments, which forward-facing sonar is cheating. Any win, guys, in my opinion, with forward-facing sonar is not a legitimate win. if they're going to call it a legitimate win, there needs to be an asterisk next to it saying this tournament was won through the use of artificial technology. It wasn't won through bass fishing skills. Put that asterisk up there. That needs to be there. But this is what you're going to have, is since the technology of forward-facing sonar is the only game in town now, you're not going to have specialists anymore. There's not going to be technique-specific specialists that you can develop a following and a you know, any type of like a hero base like we used to have before, because it's the same thing. It's the same deal. You've got, you know, these young anglers out there, they've got 3 screens up front, staring at the screen all the time, and it's not conducive to developing any type of bass fishing heroes that people want to follow, because nobody knows who these guys are. It's like, I follow the sport as close as anybody, and I look down through the Elite Series roster now. I don't know most of the people on there. I've never heard of them. I've never heard of them, because they're all forward-facing sonar users, and it's like, that's what it's turned into. So again, this is not a slight on the people that have been forced. These young anglers that I call flat brimmers, just, you know, you can call me an old geezer, because I am, but they're a flat brimmer. That's just, you know, an affectionate term that I use for them. But Bassmaster and MLF have ushered this in and forced them to use this technology, and they don't have any recourse behind it. So this problem and the blame of why we don't have heroes on the sport in the sport anymore is completely the fault of the Bassmaster management and the MLF management. Nobody else. They take full responsibility. And the fact that they are getting rid of everything we had in the sport before. Every generation of our sport had heroes. That's gone. That is literally gone now. Yeah, you're going to have a few guys out there that get on a hot streak and use the cheater box to do good in a season and win Angler of the Year on it. But there's no substance of that. It's like there's a hollowness to that, because there's no art form behind it. There's no skill behind it. All it is an umbilical cord attached to an angler that tells them where the fish are at, where to cast at, and there's nothing. There's no value to that. There's nothing special about that. There's nothing that makes those anglers stand out. There's nothing. They do not possess any type of an art form like David Fritz possessed an art form of being able to triangulate offshore structures and throw a weighted pose 400 and wax everybody in the tournament. There's none of that anymore. And until Bassmaster and MLF outlaw the cheater box, we are never going to have heroes again in the sport. And this is one of the big reasons bass fishing is on a decline, is because of that. And if you don't think it's real, you look at other sports out there. Look at golf. Ever since Tiger Woods fell off the scene, Tiger was like a strong personality and a hero. And, you know, now it's been replaced by a bunch of unknowns out there. Same with Major League Baseball. The heroes like Mickey Mantle and Hank Aaron and Willie Mays and Johnny Bench and Pete Rose, they don't exist anymore. Major League Baseball is nothing but a bunch of guys I've never heard of, and I can't even pronounce their names, most of them. And when you do that, you lose that value that people have, and they want to have people that they can look up to and enjoy following and having this hero personality to it. And that's why when one person emerges like that, which is a rarity anymore, they really capitalize on that. So as of right now, guys, bass fishing, we're past those days. There's no heroes left in the sport. They're all dropping out. They're dropping like flies. You know, we lost our last one last year with Rick Clunn. He was the last of the old breed heroes, and we're never going to see that type of generation or that type of personality of anglers emerge until Bassmaster and MLF gets rid of the cheater box. Now, this is what happens if you get rid of the cheater box. You take that away from fishing, period, and you basically just limit it to two-dimensional sonar. Then all these younger anglers that come up, they are going to be forced to have to be diverse specialists. They're going to have a versatility aspect to their techniques, and they're going to have to be a specialist in order to win tournaments. And then that begins the process again, because that separates, you know, the cream from the cream. Right now, you don't have that. It's like every freaking angler out of college or high school knows how to read a cheater box, and it's just a matter of, you know, just luck or being at the right place at the right time that they happen to get on a bunch of fish that they can see on that with that umbilical cord. So it's pretty. This is one thing people don't talk about much, and that's one of the reasons why you're seeing a decline in viewership. You're seeing a decline in attendance of the tournaments. You're seeing a decline in the overall enthusiasm for following professional fishing. And it's not going to change, like I said, until we get rid of the problem, the root of the problem, which is the cheater box, live scope, forward-facing sonar, you know, just the worst thing that's ever freaking happened to fishing, man. It's like if you don't need another reason to hate it, here's another reason that I just gave you in today's video. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about it, and we'll talk later.